Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm gonna be editing a picture of Novulant, so let's go ahead and hop into Lightroom. All right, so this was from his most recent show in LA at the Roxy, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of, again, just an insight of how I edit. What I usually do, depending on the quality of the picture, if it's really grainy or not, I will usually denoise, which is here. Because 50 is always too much for me. I never use 50. 50 is way too just ceramic or plasticky for me. So I'll usually drop it down to 35, correcting the lens if there's any distortion. From this point, I usually use my presets. Mm, the red's nice, but it also needs something complementary to it, like blue. Yeah, this might be the way to go. I'm liking how that looks already. But okay, so I guess in the process, after I choose my preset, I will start from the top and make my way down and just start adjusting things that I don't like or want to add into the picture. Like when I'm looking at this right now, um, maybe I can add some more or less highlights to the face because sometimes it's too much and you lose detail and it looks flat. Like it's even like looking at the shape of this right here. It's just like one big, you know, patch of overexposed um, light. In my opinion, I like very underexposed images. Um, in certain scenarios, right? In this at this specific show, the lighting wasn't the best. It wasn't a huge stage or production by any means. So you, you gotta use what you have available. And in this case, it worked out because those gelled lights, um, and they so happen to I guess complement each other. Not in the initial image that I took, but I was able to manipulate what's already baked into the image. So right now I have um, like a magenta or purple uh, hue, which also kind of fades into red. And then on the opposite side, there is the blue. And then when I apply my preset, I can manipulate that magenta into more of a reddish hue, and the blue into more of like a teal color. So the blacks are fine to me. Here, I like the flatness of it, which I might continue to just have in the images, um, more of a matte type look. That's nice, but that's too black for me in this case. Uh, Texture. Uh, Texture's a good tool to use if you're lacking in like detail areas. Clarity. I don't think. Let's see. But it's not always the best to use at all times. I don't know. I feel like adding that little extra layer of just grunginess to it makes the image. So before and after. Before and after looks pretty dope so far. Tone curve. Okay. So like I was mentioning before, I want to keep this image a little bit more matte, right? Not so punchy in the shadow areas, like in the background. Bring this down. Yeah, it's pretty sick. Okay, cool. Mixer. Okay, let's mess with the saturation. So this section I like. This is one of the best, or one of my favorite sections of even just editing in Lightroom when it comes to just me being in full control, because not only can I mess with the saturation, manipulate colors, but you can create things with colors that aren't even there sometimes, right? Because I mean, you can see right here, there's a mixture of like a magenta to a red to maybe even a little bit of orange, and then it wraps around to like a teal, kind of tapers off. So if I even go here, you can, depending on what's baked into the image, you can see you can even make orange. You can't. It's hard to tell if there's even orange there, but it's very subtle. So you can make it orange if you want. Add another color in there that's not so prominent from the jump. And that, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So under this purple slider right here, you can see once I move it from left, or yeah, to the left, it changes the image a lot. It takes away a lot of the magenta, and it pushes it all towards more of a bluish or a purplish, right? So if I wanted to make it a lot more blue, I definitely could. And that's the flexibility of shooting raw images. A lot of over time using Lightroom, and I've been using Lightroom for years now. Um, Anyone that is getting into it, it's a lot. Just like Photoshop is a lot. It's a complete rabbit hole. Photoshop's a lot more complex and in depth compared to Lightroom. But Lightroom in general, for anyone who's wanting to get into just understanding it and editing, just try things out. Right. A lot of the times I'll like mess with sliders and see because sometimes I don't know. Like one slider or one effect um, on Lightroom could have a completely different change on an image based on the lighting, composition, um, whether there's motion. It's smart to just try different things out. Basically, what I just did in the color mixer, but having it specific to the tonality of the image. All right, so shadows. So I can see in the background right now that there is. It looks like there's like some red or some purple in the blacks, and I don't want that. I don't necessarily want that much in it. So let's change it. So if I'm looking at here and I see red or purple, right? I'm going to look at the color wheel right here. The opposite of red and purple is going to be green. So in order to neutralize that color, I want to incorporate what's opposite of it on the color wheel. So I don't want to overdo the incorporation of green into the shadows because I just don't like how that looks. I don't want to incorporate a third color that has nothing to do with um, the vision of this edit. Yeah, it's fire, actually. Yeah, I like that. I'll stick with that. Luminance is fine. Highlights, fine. Okay, on to the next one. Sharpening. For most images, if it's not already applied when I initially import these into Lightroom, is I'll put this at around 35 or 40. The direction of this picture is a little bit more on the darker end. That is so fire. Wow. And I think that is it. Lastly, for this edit, I'm going to probably readjust my crop. I don't want him too close to the edge because I want a chance for the frame to be able to breathe a little bit. Let's see what that even looks like. And it's never bad to try, right? If you initially take a picture and you're like, yeah, I want to compose it like that, from the time you take the picture until you get into Lightroom, your thoughts could change. You could have a completely different perspective on the image. Whatever your final decisions are, it's your image. Crop it how you like. Um, it's your art at the end of the day. So that's what I had before. Right? And just even bringing it in like such makes it that much more personal and more one to one. Like you're having a conversation with Novulent. I love that just 3D effect. I feel like I have 3D glasses on in the movie theaters right now. Just looking at that collar necklace. That's so fire. And that's it. That is the final edit for this picture of Novulent I took at the Roxy in Los Angeles. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these videos, just engaging with you guys and anyone who's keen to photo editing or the behind the scenes of, whether it's concerts or studio stuff that I do, to get you guys a little more familiar with what I do and how my process works when it comes to image making. It was fun. It was fun. I hope you guys like this video. Feel free to drop a comment down below, show some support, and give me some thoughts on what you think of this image. That's all I got for you guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.